Commander James Stone stood at the main window of Earth Defense Station Alpha, his gray eyes fixed on the vast emptiness of space. The year was 2157, and humanity had been part of the Galactic Alliance for just 5 years. Even now, after proving themselves repeatedly, the other species still looked down on humans as the young ones. The space station's alert system suddenly flashed red, pulling Stone from his thoughts. A sleek silver ship appeared from Lightspeed, its design clearly marking it as Alliance technology. The vessel moved with grace, but Stone could tell something was wrong. Its flight pattern was erratic, like a wounded bird trying to stay in the air. "Commander," Lieutenant Baker's voice came through the comm system. "The ship is requesting emergency docking. They're saying their world is gone." Stone's jaw tightened. This was the third such incident this month. First, the mining colonies in the Centauri system had gone dark. Then the research stations near the galactic core stopped responding. Now this. "Grant them permission to dock," Stone ordered, already moving toward the landing bay. "And get me Dr. Miller from Xenobiology. We need her expertise." The ship's occupants were members of the Stellar Confederation, one of the oldest species in the Alliance. Their tall, elegant forms usually carried an air of superiority, but not today. Today, they trembled. It came without warning, the ship's captain said, his translator struggling to keep up with his rapid speech. A darkness that consumed everything. Our defenses, our greatest weapons, they did nothing. Nothing. Dr. Anna Miller recorded everything while Stone listened. The story matched the other reports. An unknown force that appeared from nowhere, immune to energy weapons and physical attacks alike. It consumed entire worlds, leaving nothing but empty space behind. "The Council must act now," Stone said later that day, addressing the Alliance representatives through the holographic communication system. "This threat is real, and it's getting closer to the core worlds." The alien faces on the screen showed various expressions of doubt and dismissal. The Stellar Confederation representative, still shaken from the recent attack, was the only one who seemed to agree. "Commander Stone," the High Speaker said, his crystalline form shimmering, "while we appreciate Earth's concern, the Alliance has faced many challenges in its 10,000 years of existence. Perhaps this is simply too advanced for your species to understand." Stone felt his face grow hot, but he kept his voice steady. "With all due respect, High Speaker, the evidence is clear. 3 systems have gone dark. Survivors all report the same thing. We need to prepare." "The human speaks with passion," another representative chimed in, "but lacks the wisdom of ages. We will study this phenomenon and act when we deem it necessary." After the transmission ended, Stone slammed his fist against the desk. "They're going to get us all killed with their arrogance." "Sir," Lieutenant Baker called from his station, "long-range sensors are picking up something strange at the edge of our system." Stone rushed to the main display. The readings made his blood run cold. A vast darkness was moving through space, consuming everything in its path. Light itself seemed to bend around it. "Send word to Earth Defense Command," Stone ordered, "and get me a direct line to Admiral Reed. If the Alliance won't act, we'll have to protect ourselves." In the days that followed, humanity prepared for war. While the Alliance debated and discussed, Earth's factories switched to military production. Defense satellites were upgraded, and the fleet was mobilized. "They think we're primitive," Stone told his crew during a briefing. "They think we're too young to understand the galaxy's dangers, but we know something they've forgotten. Humanity doesn't need to be the strongest or the most advanced. We just need to be the most determined." As he looked at the faces of his crew, men and women ready to defend their home, Stone felt a fierce pride. The Alliance might see humans as children, but they would soon learn that humanity's greatest strength wasn't in their technology or their wisdom of ages. It was in their refusal to give up, even when all hope seemed lost. 2 weeks after the first warning signs, Commander Stone watched in horror as the long-range cameras showed the destruction of another world. The darkness that everyone now called the Void moved like a living thing, wrapping around the planet until nothing remained. "Play it again," he ordered, his voice tight with anger. Lieutenant Baker nodded and restarted the recording. This time, Stone noticed something new. "Stop there, in the background. Are those Alliance ships?" Dr. Miller leaned closer to the screen. "Yes, but they're not fighting. They're just watching." The truth hit Stone like a physical blow. The Alliance wasn't just being slow to act. They were deliberately staying away. But why? His answer came 3 hours later, when a secret transmission reached Earth Defense Station Alpha. The sender was an old Alliance scientist who could no longer stay quiet. "The Alliance has known about the Void for centuries," the alien whispered, his image flickering on the screen. "Every 1,000 years, it awakens and hunts. The Alliance, they learned long ago that they could survive by offering it younger civilizations." Stone felt sick. They brought us into the Alliance knowing this would happen. Yes, humanity was chosen 5 years ago to be the next sacrifice. The Alliance will seal off your sector of space and let the Void feed. Then it will sleep again, and the older races will survive. After the transmission ended, Stone sat in silence for a long time. Finally, he pressed the button for ship-wide communications. "All personnel to the main hall. Immediately." 5 minutes later, he stood before his crew. Their faces showed confusion and fear. They had all seen the recordings of worlds being destroyed. "I have bad news and worse news," Stone began. "The bad news is that the Alliance has betrayed us. They knew about the Void all along. The worst news is that they chose Earth as its next target." The room erupted in angry shouts and scared whispers. Stone raised his hand for silence. "But they made a mistake," he continued. "They thought humans would be like all the other young races, that we would run and hide until the Void consumed us. They forgot something important about humanity." He walked across the stage, looking at each crew member. "Throughout our history, humans have faced impossible odds. We've survived ice ages, plagues, wars, and disasters. Every time someone said we couldn't do something, we proved them wrong." The main screen behind him showed Earth, beautiful and blue. "The Alliance thinks they can sacrifice us to save themselves. They think we're weak because we're young. But being young doesn't make us weak. It makes us stronger. We haven't forgotten how to fight against impossible odds. We haven't learned to just give up and sacrifice others to save ourselves." A message flashed on his personal device. More Alliance ships were leaving their posts, retreating to their home systems. The cowards were running. "Lieutenant Baker," Stone called out, "send a message to all human colonies and ships. Tell them the truth about the Alliance. Tell them we stand alone now." "And sir," Baker asked, "what else should I tell them?" Stone smiled grimly. "Tell them that humanity is going to do what it does best: survive. The Alliance wants to sacrifice us. Well, they're about to learn that humans don't make good sacrifices. We make dangerous enemies." Over the next few days, the Alliance completely fell apart. Species that had worked together for thousands of years now turned their backs on each other. One by one, they sealed off their worlds, hoping the Void would pass them by. But humanity did something different. Instead of hiding, Earth's ships moved into defensive positions. Scientists worked day and night studying the Void. Military leaders planned strategies. And in space stations and colonies across the solar system, humans prepared for the fight of their lives. "Commander," Dr. Miller called out one evening, "I think we found something. When the Void attacked that last world, our sensors picked up strange energy readings. If we can understand them." Stone nodded. The Alliance had chosen Earth because they thought humans were weak. Now they would watch as humanity did the impossible: stand and fight against an enemy that had terrorized the galaxy for millennia. The real war was about to begin. The first attack came at dawn. Commander Stone stood at his post as the void emerged at the edge of the solar system. It looked like a tear in space itself, darker than the blackness between stars. Behind him, red alert sirens filled Earth Defense Station Alpha with their urgent wailing. "All ships to battle positions," Stone ordered, his voice steady despite his racing heart. "Remember your training. We've prepared for this." The Earth Defense Fleet moved into formation. 300 ships, the best humanity could build, formed a protective line between the void and Earth. On the main screen, Stone watched as the darkness approached. It had already consumed Pluto, leaving nothing but empty space where the dwarf planet once orbited. "Energy readings are off the charts," Dr. Miller reported from her station. "But there's something strange about the pattern. Look at these waves." Before she could finish, the void struck. It moved faster than anyone expected, wrapping around the outer ships of the fleet. Stone watched in horror as 5 vessels disappeared into the darkness. "Pull back," he commanded. "All ships, fall back to secondary positions." But as the fleet retreated, Lieutenant Baker noticed something odd. "Sir, look at Ship 217. Their experimental radiation shield is affecting the void." Stone rushed to Baker's screen. Ship 217 had been testing a new type of radiation shielding. Where the void touched the shield, it seemed to recoil, like water hitting a hot surface. "Dr. Miller," Stone called out. "Analysis, now." The doctor's fingers flew over her console. "The shield generates a specific radiation pattern. It's pushing the void back." "Commander, I think we found their weakness." Stone didn't waste a second. "All ships, redirect power to your radiation shields. Modify them to match Ship 217's frequency." "This is what we've been waiting for." The entire fleet began adjusting their shields. The void struck again, but this time, humanity was ready. Where before ships had vanished into the darkness, now they stood firm, their modified shields creating barriers of light that the void couldn't penetrate. "It's working," Baker shouted. Several crew members cheered. But Stone knew they couldn't celebrate yet. "This is only defense," he said. "We need a way to fight back. Dr. Miller, can we turn this radiation into a weapon?" Miller was already working on it. "Maybe. The pattern is complex, but if we could generate enough power." "Sir," Baker interrupted. "Message from Earth Defense Command. They're converting all our nuclear power plants to generate this radiation pattern. They want to create a shield around the whole planet." For the next 12 hours, humanity fought the longest battle in its history. The fleet held the line while Earth's scientists and engineers worked frantically to build planetary defenses. Every time, the void tried to break through. Human ships blocked its path, their modified shields glowing like stars. Stone hadn't slept, but he couldn't rest. "Not yet. Status report," he called out. "We've lost 47 ships," Baker replied grimly. "But Earth's planetary shield is almost ready. The void seems to be retreating." Stone studied the readings. The darkness was pulling back, moving away from the fleet's defensive line. For the first time since the battle began, he allowed himself to smile. "It's not used to prey that fights back," he said. "The Alliance always ran and hid. We're the first ones to stand and fight." Dr. Miller looked up from her work. "Commander, I think I found a way to weaponize the radiation. If we can modify our ship's main guns." "Do it," Stone ordered. The void thought it found an easy meal. Instead, it found humanity, and we're going to teach it why that was a mistake. As the battle temporarily paused, Stone sent a message to every human ship and station. "Today, we proved something that the Alliance forgot long ago. The strongest species isn't the oldest or the most advanced. It's the one that refuses to give up." The void came expecting to find victims. Instead, it found warriors. "This is just the beginning of our fight." The crew cheered. On screens throughout the fleet, humans celebrated their first victory. But Stone knew this was only the start. They had found the void's weakness, But the real battle was still to come. Humanity had survived its first test. Now it was time to fight back. 3 days after humanity's first defensive victory, Earth buzzed with activity. Every laboratory, factory, and research station worked around the clock. Dr. Miller hadn't left her lab in 48 hours, studying the void's reaction to different radiation patterns. "Look at this," she said, pointing to her screen as Commander Stone entered the lab. "When we hit the void with our modified radiation, it doesn't just retreat. It bleeds." Stone leaned closer to see the readings. "You mean we can actually hurt it?" "Better than that." Miller pulled up a new set of data. "I think we can kill it. But we need more power than our ships can generate." Before Stone could respond, Lieutenant Baker's voice came through the comm system. "Commander, you need to see this. We're getting signals from the Mars colony." In the command center, Baker played the transmission. The screen showed huge machines being built on the red planet's surface. Chief Engineer Wilson, who led the Mars colony, appeared on screen. "We've done it," Wilson said, his face tired but proud. "We've converted our entire power grid to generate the void-piercing radiation. But that's not all." He moved his camera to show a massive cannon taking shape. "We're building weapons. Big ones. The void won't know what hit it." Stone felt a surge of pride. Without being ordered, without even being asked, humans everywhere were fighting back in their own ways. The Mars colony had turned itself into a weapons factory. The moon base was becoming a shield generator. Every space station and settlement was adding its strength to the fight. "Sir," Baker called out again, "you'll want to see this too. It's from the Alliance worlds." The new transmission showed scenes from various alien planets. The mighty Alliance species, who had abandoned humanity, were watching in shock as humans fought the void. Their long-range sensors had captured everything: the battle, the discovery of the void's weakness, and humanity's refusal to give up. "They didn't expect this," Stone said quietly. "They thought we'd die quietly, like all their other sacrifices." Dr. Miller entered the command center, carrying a new set of data. "Commander, I've finished the calculations. If we can gather enough power, we can create weapons that don't just hurt the void. They can tear it apart, but we'll need every human settlement to work together." Stone nodded and opened a channel to all human colonies and stations. "This is Commander Stone. You've all fought bravely, worked tirelessly, and proved what humanity is capable of. Now I'm asking for one more thing. We need every scrap of power, every generator, every energy source we have. Together, we're going to build something that will change this war." The responses came immediately. The lunar colonies diverted power from their living sections, keeping only life support running. Mars colony promised to double their energy production. Even the smallest mining outposts offered what they could. In her lab, Dr. Miller worked with scientists from around the solar system, sharing her findings and improving her designs. The first prototype of what they called the Void Piercer was ready within days. "It's not pretty," Miller said as they looked at the massive weapon. "But it works. The radiation beam is 100 times stronger than our ship-mounted versions. When the void comes back, we'll be ready." Stone walked through the station, watching his crew prepare. Engineers modified ships with new weapons. Tactical officers studied the data from their first battle, planning better strategies. No one had slept much, but no one complained. "Commander," Baker called out, "long-range sensors are picking up movement. The void is coming back." Stone smiled grimly. "Good. This time we're not just defending. This time we show them why you should never corner humanity." He opened the ship-wide comm. "All hands to battle stations. The enemy thinks they know what we're capable of. They think they saw our best in the last battle." He paused, looking at the determination on every face. They were wrong. Now we show them what humanity can really do when we fight together. Throughout the solar system, humans readied their new weapons. The void was coming. But this time, things would be different. This time, Humanity wasn't just trying to survive. This time, they were going to win. The battle began at midnight, Earth time. The void appeared larger than before, as if angry about its previous defeat. But this time, humanity was ready. All stations, report. Commander Stone ordered from the bridge of Earth's new flagship, the Defender. Mars colony weapons at full power, came the first response. Lunar base shields active, followed another. All Void Piercer cannons charged and ready, Dr. Miller reported from her station. The Void struck first, sending tendrils of darkness toward the human fleet. But instead of retreating, Stone gave the order they'd all been waiting for. Operation Lighthouse begins now. All weapons, fire. Beams of modified radiation shot out from every human position. From Earth's surface, massive cannons fired streams of energy into space. Mars colony's new weapons lit up the red planet's sky. Even the smallest stations added their fire to the attack. The effect was immediate. Where the radiation beams hit, the void didn't just retreat, it ripped apart. Holes appeared in its darkness, leaking strange energy into space. "It's working," Baker shouted. "The void is taking damage." Stone watched the battle displays carefully. "Push forward. Don't let it recover." The human fleet moved as one, advancing into the space the void had occupied. Dr. Miller's weapons were doing more than just hurting the enemy. They were forcing it back, breaking it apart piece by piece. Then something unexpected happened. A transmission cut through all channels, coming from an Alliance world. "This is impossible," an alien voice said. "The void. It's never been hurt before. Never in all our records." More transmissions followed. Other species were watching the battle, seeing humanity do what they had thought impossible. Some didn't want to believe it. Others started asking questions about human weapons and shields. "Commander," Baker called out, "we're getting requests from 3 different Alliance worlds. They want our help." Stone almost laughed. The same species that had abandoned Earth now wanted protection, but he didn't have time to answer. The void was preparing another attack. This time, it tried a new strategy. Instead of attacking the fleet, it aimed for Earth's sun. "It's trying to destroy our solar system," Dr. Miller shouted. "If it corrupts the sun." "Not happening." Stone cut her off. "All ships, form up on me. We're going to show the void why you don't threaten our home." The entire human fleet moved into a new formation. On Stone's command, every ship fired their void piercers at once. The combined beams created a massive spear of light that pierced straight through the void's center. The effect was spectacular. The void writhed in space, its darkness breaking apart. Where before it had seemed infinite, now they could see its edges, its limits. "Keep firing," Stone ordered. "Don't let up." For hours, the battle raged. Human ships moved in perfect coordination, their weapons tearing the void apart piece by piece. When ships ran low on power, they fell back to recharge while others took their place. The Mars colony's cannons fired nonstop, their beams so bright they could be seen from Earth. Finally, the void did something it had never done before in its long history. It retreated. Not just a tactical withdrawal, but a full retreat, fleeing from the solar system. The human fleet erupted in cheers. On every ship, station, and colony, people celebrated their victory. But Stone knew this wasn't the end. "Track its movement," he ordered. "We're not letting it escape to threaten another world." As the celebration continued, more transmissions arrived from Alliance worlds. They all said similar things. How had humans done it? Could they teach others? Would Earth help protect them? Stone looked at his crew, tired but proud, ready to keep fighting. Humanity had done more than just defend itself. They had shown the galaxy that the void wasn't invincible. They had given others hope. "Send a message to all Alliance worlds," Stone said. "Tell them Earth will help protect anyone who stands with us. But make it clear, we're not just defending anymore. We're taking the fight to the void. It's time to end this threat once and for all." The next phase of the war was about to begin. And this time, humanity would be leading the charge. 1 month after humanity's victory in the solar system, Earth had changed. Once empty space around the planet now bustled with alien ships. Former Alliance members who had once looked down on humans now came seeking help and protection. Commander Stone watched from Earth Defense Station Alpha as another group of alien ships arrived for training. "That's the 5th Fleet this week," Lieutenant Baker reported. "These ones are from the Crystal Worlds. They've already started modifying their ships with our Void Piercer technology." Dr. Miller entered the command center, looking excited. "Commander, you need to see this. The combined research teams have made a breakthrough." She pulled up a display showing the Void's movement patterns. "We've tracked it to the galactic core. It's wounded, trying to heal. But more importantly, we think we know what it really is." Before she could explain further, the station's alerts blared. The Void had appeared again, larger than ever. But this time, it wasn't targeting Earth. "It's attacking the Stellar Confederation homeworld," Baker announced. "They're requesting immediate assistance." Stone didn't hesitate. "Send the response fleet. All ships equipped with Void Piercers, prepare for immediate departure." He turned to his crew. "The Void thinks it can pick off easier targets. Let's show it that humanity protects its allies now." The Earth Defense Fleet, now joined by ships from 6 different alien species, moved out. Stone commanded from the Defender, leading the largest combined fleet in galactic history. "All ships, report in," he ordered as they approached the battle zone. One by one, the fleet commanders responded. Humans fought alongside former enemies, their ships working together in perfect formation. The Void Piercer weapons had been shared with every ally, turning their combined fleet into a force the Void had never faced before. They found the Void attacking the Stellar Confederation's main world, but something was different about it now. "Look at its pattern," Dr. Miller said, studying the readings. "It's desperate, attacking wildly. It knows it's losing." Stone opened a channel to all ships. "This is it. The Void is wounded and desperate. Now we end this threat once and for all. All ships, attack formation Delta. Fire on my mark." The fleet moved into position. Human ships took the lead, their more experienced crews guiding the others. When the Void noticed them, it tried to retreat. "Not this time," Stone said quietly. "All ships, fire." Thousands of Void Piercer beams struck at once. The combined attack lit up space brighter than a supernova. The Void tried to fight back, but each attack was met with overwhelming force. "It's breaking apart," Baker shouted. "The core is exposed." Dr. Miller's voice cut through the excitement. "Commander, we need to hit the core with everything we have. All at once. It's our only chance to end this permanently." Stone nodded and opened all channels, to the fleet, to Earth, to every allied world. "This is Commander Stone. Divert all power to weapons. Every ship, every station, every planet-based cannon. Fire everything at the core. Now." Across the galaxy, every world that had joined with humanity fired their weapons. The Void's core was hit with more energy than had ever been unleashed in galactic history. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the Void began to collapse in on itself. Its darkness twisted and turned, pulling inward until, with a flash that temporarily blinded every sensor, it vanished. The command center was silent. Then Baker's console beeped. "Sir, scans show no trace of the Void. It's gone. We did it." Cheers erupted throughout the fleet. Ships flashed their lights in celebration. On every world that had joined the fight, people celebrated humanity's leadership in their greatest victory. Stone allowed himself a small smile. "Send word to Earth. The Void is destroyed. And send a message to all our allies. Tell them that as long as humanity stands, no species will ever have to face such a threat alone again." Dr. Miller looked at the space where the Void had been. "Hard to believe the Alliance once thought we were too primitive to save." "They forgot something important," Stone replied. "Being young doesn't make you weak. It makes you willing to fight when others have given up hope. The fleet began its journey home, but Stone knew this wasn't the end. Humanity had proved itself. Now they had a new role, protectors of a galaxy that had once rejected them. The future was bright, and this time, humanity would help light the way. 1 year after the Void's destruction, Earth had become the center of a new galactic civilization. The old alliance was gone, replaced by something stronger, the United Worlds, with humanity at its heart. Commander Stone, now Admiral Stone, stood in the grand meeting hall of the new Earth Capitol building. Representatives from over 50 alien species filled the room, their voices mixing as they discussed the future. Above them, through the transparent dome ceiling, ships from 100 worlds moved peacefully through Earth's orbit. Hard to believe this all started with everyone trying to sacrifice us, Lieutenant Baker, now Captain Baker, said as he joined Stone. Sometimes the best heroes are the ones nobody believes in, Stone replied, watching Dr. Miller prepare for her presentation. Miller had become the head of the new Galactic Science Academy. Her research into the Void had led to amazing discoveries. She stepped up to the podium, and the room fell silent. 1 year ago, we destroyed a threat that had terrorized our galaxy for millennia, she began. But the Void gave us something important. It taught us that we're stronger together than apart. The screens behind her showed images from the past year. Human scientists working with alien researchers, combined fleets protecting distant worlds, new colonies being built by multiple species working together. The Void Piercer technology was just the beginning, Miller continued. By sharing our knowledge, by working together, we've made more progress in 1 year than the old alliance made in a century. She was right. The United Worlds had already achieved things the alliance never dreamed of. Clean energy that could power entire planets, faster ships, better medical care, all because species now work together instead of hoarding their secrets. Stone stepped up to speak next. The room grew even quieter. Everyone knew that humanity's flagship commander, the man who led the final battle against the Void, never gave speeches unless they were important. 1 year ago, we stood alone, he began. The galaxy had abandoned us, thinking we were too young, too primitive to survive. They thought our youth made us weak. He paused, looking around the room. They were wrong. Being young made us strong. It made us remember something the older races had forgotten. That hope is strongest when things seem hopeless, and that giving up should never be an option. Heads nodded throughout the room. Even the proudest alien species had learned to respect humanity's spirit. Today, we start something new, Stone continued. The United Worlds isn't just an alliance. It's a promise that no species will ever stand alone against the darkness again. A promise that together we can face any challenge. The room erupted in applause. On screens across the galaxy, billions of beings watched and cheered. Humanity had done more than save the galaxy. They had united it. After the ceremony, Stone walked through the new Earth Defense Command Center with Baker and Miller. The place buzzed with activity as humans and aliens worked side by side. The deep space explorers found something interesting, Miller said, pulling up a star map. There are signs of other galaxies out there, some with their own versions of the Void. They might need our help. Stone smiled. Then we'll help them. That's who we are now. Who would have thought? Baker laughed. A year ago, we were the primitive species nobody wanted. Now everyone's following our lead. Because we showed them something important, Stone said, watching a group of young human and alien officers training together. We showed them that true strength isn't about how old you are or how advanced your technology is. It's about having the courage to stand up when everyone else steps back. About fighting for what's right, even when it seems impossible. He looked out at Earth below, beautiful and blue, now the heart of a united galaxy. We went from being the species everyone thought would die quietly to the ones everyone turns to for protection and leadership. And we did it by being exactly what we've always been, human. The sun rose over Earth, its light reflecting off the ships in orbit. Among them were vessels from worlds that had once abandoned humanity, now proud to fly alongside Earth's fleet. The galaxy had changed, and humanity had changed it. They had stood alone against the darkness. But now, thanks to their courage, nobody would ever have to stand alone again. The end.